I'm going to read you a statement from Eric Nadel. Okay? So this is not Kevin Hagelin's words. These are Eric Nadel's words. Quote, as many of you know, for years, I've been an advocate for those with mental health issues. I now find myself dealing with anxiety, insomnia, and depression, which are currently preventing me from doing the job I love. So I regret to say I will not be in the broadcast booth when the season starts. I am receiving treatment as I go through the healing process and encourage others with similar issues to reach out for help. I'm tremendously grateful to Matt and Jared for the superb job they are doing in my absence. Rangers management has been wonderful to me. I thank them for their concern, kindness, and understanding. Rangers fans have always given me tremendous support, and I ask for their continued support at this time and in the future. So, end quote. So, really sad news, and I know people have been asking on spring training and everything like that, and we're gearing up for the season. It starts a week from tomorrow, so Eric Nadel will not be on the call at the beginning of the season. I know one of the next logical questions that will come up is, when is he coming back? I have no idea. I'm guessing at this moment he has no idea, because when you go through stuff like this, there's not an easy end date, right? Like, you can't go, hey, I just started new medicine. It's definitely going to work, and so my depression will be over at this point, or whatever the case may be. And for a lot of people, that carries over like their entire life. And so I don't know when he's going to be back. I love Matt and Jared, and I'm glad that we have them there on the call. But I think the bigger concern for everyone is that Eric Nadel is okay.
This is a guy who Kevin has treated us with like the greatest respect ever, right?
Yeah.
He walks in, treats us just like a friend, where he says, don't F up, or don't say F.
Don't say F.
And that's like the greatest line ever from Eric Nadel is don't say F. And it just sticks out. But at the same time, anytime we've ever had him on the show, anytime we went on a hike with him, that was probably my favorite. Like, I had a great hike with you. We got to go on a hike with Eric in Arizona in Surprise. And he's so casual, and he's lived such an amazing life, right? Like, just the things that he's been able to accomplish, and the things that he's done, and how he spends his time has always been really unique to me. I mean, I can't remember if Jared said this was for air or not, but I'm going to tell it anyway. We went to dinner, Mike, the first restaurant we went to in Arizona the other night, or while we were there.
The Mexican restaurant?
Yeah. And Jared was like, yeah, I heard of this place because Eric invited some people here that he'd met on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he frequently did that during spring training, where he would just invite people up and to say hi. And that's we kind of fashioned our show that way too, in the building. But how awesome is it to be able to go upstairs and see the baseball game from that view, but also you're talking to Hall of Famer radio broadcaster who's treating you like he's nothing better than you. He's just your peer. And so this is why, it's very tough. I know how difficult these kinds of times can be for somebody to try and figure out where they are. And I'm just sending my best to Eric, because every interaction I've ever had with that guy has been fantastic.
He helps us all the time with My Possibilities stuff and with Peace-a-thon and everything, because he cares so much about this space. Like, for example, he always does his birthday benefit to raise money for the Grant Halliburton Foundation. And last year alone, I know they raised like $100,000. So he speaks very openly about this. I do want to just, if I can real quick, read this one text. 817, part of me loves hearing about this because mental health awareness is so important. But at the same time, if someone like Eric Nadel struggles to overcome it, what hope do I ever have? I want to tell you that there is hope, because I don't think mental health issues, I don't think they discriminate like that.
Yeah, they don't deal with oh, you're a successful person in your industry. You will not have mental health issues.
Yeah, and exactly. Money, success, like you said, it doesn't matter. And one of the things that I always ran into is I felt bad that I felt bad. You know what I'm saying? We grew up everything
should be fine. I'm doing so well.
Yes. I had friends in high school, middle school, all of that, we grew up middle class. Like, we were not having the struggle that like people might ideally think of. And I just remember talking to my mom that one day when I finally went to go to the talking doctor, and I just had to tell her, I was like, I feel bad all of the time and I don't know why. Because in theory, I wasn't being bullied at school. We had money for like things that a lot of people would very much love to have and appreciate and everything like that. And I just could not figure it out. And so I don't think Eric's struggling with this and missing the beginning of the regular season. And I don't know. I'm not keeping this from anybody. We don't know when he will be back. I don't think you should let that negatively reflect on what you're working on with your mental health.
Go ahead, Derek.
Well, I was going to say, Eric is one of those guys, too, that paints such a good picture of the game. I mean, he does an outstanding job. As a player, I got to hear it, too, and just seeing what he does, and that's, it sucks when you see stuff like this is happening. You never know what somebody's really going through. It's not that hard to just reach out to people and try to help them through these battles and what they're dealing with. On top of that, too, like, I hope for myself that I get the opportunity to broadcast a game right next to him. That's something I would like to do just because of how well he does it and learn from him. I've got to listen to a lot of his stuff, and I'm very grateful for how he comments and commentates a game. But, this is a time now we got to try to be there for him.
Brad Sham came to speak at my class at UNT, and he said one of his favorite broadcaster is Nadel.
Yeah.
And he explained how he describes the little line of the undershirt sticking out from the jersey, and the stripes on the pants and those things. And Brad was explaining to us how spoiled we are as listeners of broadcasting, because we have really good broadcasters of radio here in DFW. And that was the first time I was like, okay, I want to listen, because I remember growing up as a kid and hearing him. But I was like, I want to listen to more of like what he's explaining and those things. And then Kevin, when we were coming in every night, we were hearing it every single night, and we had jokes with him and everything. So I'm hoping that he can get back to that place. Because do you know who Jason Segel is?
The actor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Conan he was talking to. And I brought this up to you recently because one morning in Arizona, I just was not in a great place.
Yeah.
And Jason Segel said, he said, every morning I wake up, I have to do a little more to get to zero than everybody else.
Yeah.
He said
that's a great way to describe it.
So a lot of people can start their morning at zero and go from there, but I have to do things in the morning. I have to talk to myself in the mirror. I have to do things that get me to a place where I feel good to go out. And I don't have that as frequently, but every once in a while I do. And I can't imagine being in the place for some people where every day you're trying to go through that struggle. And I credit Kevin, you for what you do with NAMI.
Yeah.
Because that's some great work, and knowing that you get up and do those kind of similar things every day too.
I was just at Talking Doctor yesterday. I usually go on Tuesdays, and somebody brought this up, and we'll recap if you missed everything that Eric Nadel's statement said, is like there's medicine for all the different organs, but we still struggle with this part. The thing that I always think of is like, if somebody walks in with a cast on their arm, their arm is broken, and you just take that at face value, right?
Right.
But I still see people like, I saw somebody text in, it's like, oh no, you have bad mental health, bang your head against a wall. Like, there are still some people who are like, this is fake, and I don't believe you, or I can't see it on you. Like, I've told my wife this before. It's a benefit, but also a negative to me that I can hide how I'm really feeling from most anybody. And so there has definitely been times where I've been struggling, but I can still put on a happy face and act like everything's normal and everything like that. So that is a really tough thing because people don't see that cast. Like, if it's internally, it is really hard to tell unless you say something about it. So I go ahead.
817, I'd like to hear how much the Talking Doctor actually helps you. Is it better than just talking it out with your significant other? I'm thinking about it, and I'd never done anything like that.
Yeah.
But Kevin, there was a time a couple of years ago where I didn't know what was going on. I was just sad.
Yeah.
I was like, man, everything's great, but I wake up and I'm sad. And I said, oh, I'll take advantage of some opportunities to talk to a therapist. We cracked into some things that were going on surface right there and got me into a great place. There are a lot of people that have more beyond surface, and it's really deep down that they got to crack into, and maybe they never get to. But that's what it was. Somebody who was an expert in the field that knew the right questions to ask me.
Yeah.
Gave me some ways that I could combat what I was going through, and then said, hey, you're on the right path. Like, there was a moment where I was like, man, I don't feel like I'm a good dad sometimes. And he was like, well, I mean, the fact that you care, that matters.
Yeah.
And that really was a different perspective for me. So that's how that person helped me. And I couldn't just talk to Adrian about it because she didn't know.
Yeah, and like she comes in with a totally different level of bias. Bias doesn't have to be bad.
Yeah,
but and that's the
thing.
They're
trying to protect you and all these other things.
My talking doctor knows who I am now, but when I met him, we never had a conversation in our life. He didn't know anything about me, and we had to break it down and everything like that. So much so that I always show him pictures of Noah, and I had a picture of Noah and Brandon together, and he goes, I honestly don't know if I've seen a picture of Brandon before. And that was interesting to me. That just shows, like, you know, there are still certain parts of my life that he's still learning about. The other thing is they have access to all kinds of peer-reviewed stuff or different tools or different methods. I think Talking Doctor has helped me a lot. And so the things that I would say, if you're looking for help, NamiNorthTexas.org, if you're looking for a local free organization, and then me personally, I go through Meyer Clinics. And so, like, I like them because they have somebody there that has really helped me. And then BetterHelp.com is the national network. If you're like, hey, I want to have some options, you can try a therapist out and then drop them and go to the next one and the next one and the next one. So there are a lot of options out there.
I've dealt with some of this stuff too, and something that's been helped me a lot, especially with this year not being able to play. You know, I feel like I could be out there or whatever. Having my psychiatrist, Don Coxstein, has been unbelievable through that process, helping me keep myself from getting to, you know, that dark hole or however you want to put it. So that's been like something too, for people that are out there, if you're looking, you know, there's nothing wrong with having a psychiatrist or having somebody that you can truly talk to. I get it. You know, people will be like, well, you're not that tough because you have to go get it. It's not, It's not about that. And that's what I hate. And there's a lot of athletes out there that use them. You're not too big for something like that. You know, this is a bigger deal. And it's not a bad thing to go get help or have somebody to talk to. You know, I've got good friends in my circle that literally will talk to me and let me, you know, be their punching bag, as I like to put it, or whatever, just to help them get stuff off their chest. Same thing, I go to them too. So having a good inner circle helps out a lot, and just being able to talk to people. It's like you said, you don't know what it is. And one of the comments that was in Twitter or on Twitch was people have to put on a mask just to show up. You don't really know. It's like, I got to go deal with people. So let's just put my happy face up so nobody will ask me questions.